All right, take a seat. You need to answer these in your notebook. So these are from yesterday with the indoor air pollutants. So go ahead and take a second to answer them. If you haven't gotten your coat, we're going outside. We'll only be outside for like 5 minutes, so it's not that big of a deal. If you only have like a sweatshirt or something. All right, number 1. What do you guys have? Easily forms vapors. Write down. Easily forms vapors at room temperature. What's that? Anyone? Good guess. Not B. A, VOCs, volatile organic compounds. These are things like solvents, cleaners, plastics that give off smells. The reason they give off smells is because they have a low boiling point, right? So they form vapors really easily, and those vapors get into your nose. So they can cause like irritation in your throat or your nose from that. What comes from partially burned materials and heaters? Carbon monoxide, so B. Good. 3, what's found in insulation and other building materials? C, asbestos. What's found in soil? D, radon. Good. What is the leading cause of lung cancer after cigarettes? It is not asbestos. What is it? It's radon. So yes, asbestos does cause cancer. Radon, remember we talked about radon being more responsible for all of those deaths more than drunk driving deaths? Okay. Binds with hemoglobin, causes dizziness and death. Carbon monoxide, right? So hemoglobin's in your blood. Okay, so, and then fibers are inhaled and cause respiratory disease. That's asbestos, letter C. Okay. Here's what we're going to be doing today. We are going to be looking and calculating the biodiversity of the parking lot. Okay. So parking lot biodiversity. So I'm going to hand, all right, quiet down. I'm going to hand out this sheet. I need you to put your name on it. Okay, so we're looking at, is there a difference between the student parking lot over there and the staff parking lot, which is over there? Okay, is there a difference? Now we're pretending that the different makes of cars, so like Ford, Chevy, those are all different species. Okay. Yeah, so we're pretending that, you know, Chevy is its own species and a Toyota is its own species. So we're going to calculate, you know, which one is going to be more diverse. Okay? So when you get this, I need you to put down your hypothesis. Okay? So your hypothesis is either going to be the staff parking lot is more diverse than the student, or the student parking lot is more diverse than the staff parking lot. Okay, so go ahead and write down your hypothesis. Write down a hypothesis up at the top. Now you're going to have to come up with a null hypothesis. So in this case, what would our null hypothesis be? No relationship between diversity and what else? And the type of parking lot, right? Or what you could say too is you could say there's no difference in diversity between the staff parking lot and the student parking lot. So either one of those. There's no difference in diversity between the two parking lots, or there's no relationship between parking lot type and diversity. So remember, if we find out that there's a difference, okay, we can reject the null hypothesis. So reject the idea that there's no difference, okay? And then we would accept our regular hypothesis. So they're always backwards, okay? If you accept your hypothesis, you're going to reject your null hypothesis. If you accept your null hypothesis, you're going to reject your regular hypothesis, okay? So they're always kind of opposite, which one you accept and reject. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to divide the class up. Half of you are going to go out to that parking lot. Half of you are going to go out to this parking lot. You are going to need to identify 10 cars, okay? But the trick is we can't just have you guys identify whatever 10 cars you want because we don't want people to overlap and count the same car twice, okay? So when you go out there, you're going to need to either have somebody who's going to show you where to go, right? Like, oh, you go here, you start here. Each one of you is going to be responsible for 10 cars, okay? So wherever you start, you're just going to go down the row, all right? If you were to just pick and choose, you'd probably just pick and choose whichever cars are easiest. So wherever you start, though, you're just going to go down the row, and you just have to put, you're going to put a tally mark, okay? So you'll notice here, these are mislabeled. So where it says student parking lot, it says number and staff parking lot. I did not make this sheet, but they're mislabeled. So just cross off, I don't know, cross off the labels at the top, and then it'll make it easier for you. So staff and students. So you're just going to put a tally down, right? So if I'm just going to tally, okay, I got a Ford, so put a tally mark there. If you have one that's not on here, you can put it down below, okay? Sometimes it's hard because it might say the name of it, like I don't know, Chevy Spark, and it might say Spark, right? But it doesn't say Chevy. So just do your best, and if you have, I can look it over if you want me to afterwards and make sure there aren't any like names of the types of cars and that they're just the companies. So you're going to go out 10. As soon as you're done with your 10, you can come back in. You don't need to wait, okay? When you come back in, you're going to be you're going to be grabbing a computer, okay? This is super important. You're going to go onto this spreadsheet. It's on Classroom. Notice at the bottom there are 2 tabs. There's one tab for student lot and one tab for staff lot. So you have to make sure that you're on whatever parking lot you're doing, okay? So where it says that, you're going to take your name, pick one of these, okay? It doesn't matter which one. You don't have to go in order. You're going to write down your name, and then you're going to write the number, okay? So I don't want like tally marks here. I want like 4, 8, 22, whatever numbers you get. This will automatically calculate stuff for you. So if we scroll all the way over, the total, okay? It'll calculate the total for each of these columns. And we're going to use those totals to calculate the diversity, okay? So yesterday we had talked about diversity. We talked about richness, the number of species, okay? We talked about evenness, how even they are. Well, if we get a whole bunch of stuff, we can't just like easily figure that out. So we have calculators and equations to help us do that. And so that's what we'll be putting it into a calculator when we get back, okay? All right, is everyone done? Okay, so here's what you're going to do. All right, you need to Google this website. Wait for it. Not that website. Easy Calculation Shannon Diversity. So when you Google this, easy calculation, Shannon diversity. So the Shannon Diversity Index is basically a calculation that they came up with in order to calculate diversity. A higher number means more diverse. They also have calculations to calculate evenness. Okay? Remember, to calculate richness, that just means the number of species. So we could just count how many different numbers of cars we have, okay? So when we get to this site, it's going to look like this, maybe. And you are going to enter in the data. So this will be easiest if, like if you want to pair up with somebody and have somebody use one computer for their data and then you type, Or if you want to just pull this window by itself, like to the side, you can do that as well. So you're going to go to the document, okay? All of these numbers, including the zeros, need to be entered, okay? All the numbers, including the zeros. When you enter them, like 23, you put a comma in between, no spaces, you're going to hit calculate. Actually, you can't put the zeros in, apparently. So you're going to ignore the zeros. Okay, so ignore the zeros because apparently you can't do the zeros. Okay, the diversity index, it will tell you a number, and the evenness, it will give you another number, okay? So the higher they are, the more diverse and more even. So you're going to do that with the staff lot, and then you're going to do that with the student lot. I have also calculated the total number of cars for each lot. So when it says total organisms, that's in blue on each of the spreadsheets. Okay? All right, so I will give you some time to do that. And then when you're done, you can just answer the questions.